There's a man in Ohio who makes $41,000 a year and has more money sitting quietly in his accounts than most doctors you know. And there's a doctor 2 towns over pulling in $320,000 a year who is one bad month away from selling his car. Same country, same economy, same 24 hours in a day. So what's the difference? It's not the salary, it's not the degree, it's not even luck. Though we love to blame luck because it lets us off the hook. The difference is what these two men do between 6 a.m. and midnight every single day without thinking about it anymore. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what those actions are. The small, boring, almost embarrassingly simple habits that quietly separate people who stay wealthy from people who just look wealthy for a while. But I want you to sit with something first because it's going to sting a little. Most people don't lose money, they leak it. Slowly, invisibly. The way a tire doesn't blow out, it just goes soft over months until one day you're stranded on the highway wondering what happened. There's one habit on this list, the third one, that if you're not doing it, is quietly draining you right now, today, while you watch this. I'll get to it. But first, let's talk about the man in Ohio, because his story is the one that's going to change how you see every dollar you touch from now on. His name doesn't matter. What matters is what he did on a random Tuesday 9 years ago. He was a warehouse supervisor, $41,000 a year, 2 kids, a mortgage that scared him a little. And instead of doing what almost everyone does, checking his balance and feeling either relief or dread, he opened a notebook, physical paper, and he wrote down every dollar he spent that day. Coffee, gas, a birthday card for his daughter's classmate, 12 entries. That's habit number 1. Daily tracking. Not budgeting, tracking. There's a difference, and it's the difference that matters. Budgeting is a plan you make once a month and abandon by the 15th. Tracking is a mirror you look into every single day, whether you like what you see or not. Here's the part that surprised even him. After 30 days, he wasn't spending less, he was spending the same. But he suddenly knew where every dollar went, and knowing changed something in his brain that willpower never could. There's research on this. Behavioral economists have shown for years that the simple act of writing down a purchase, in the moment, reduces impulsive spending by double digits. Not because you're trying harder, but because you can't lie to yourself on paper the way you can in your head. Wealthy people aren't smarter with money. They're just more honest with it, daily, in a way that feels almost uncomfortable at first. And that discomfort, sit with that for a second, is exactly where the second habit begins. Rich people, the ones who stay rich, treat saving like a bill. Not a leftover, a bill. The moment money hits their account, a piece of it disappears into savings or investing before they can even feel tempted. The same automatic way rent disappears on the first of the month. Most people do the opposite. They spend first, live their life, and save whatever's left. Which, if we're honest, is usually nothing. Because life has a way of expanding to swallow every dollar you let it see. Flip the order and everything changes. Pay yourself first, even if it's $50, even if it feels like nothing. Because the habit matters more than the number in the beginning. You're not trying to get rich in month 1. You're training a muscle that in 10 years is going to carry weight you can't even imagine right now. Now here's that habit I promised you, the third one, the quiet leak. It's subscriptions and small recurring charges. The stuff that costs so little per month you don't feel it, but adds up to thousands a year without you ever making a single conscious decision about it. Streaming services you forgot you have. An app trial that became a charge. A gym membership for a gym you haven't seen since March. This is where money doesn't get spent. It gets stolen from you, by you in $3 increments, while you're distracted by bigger numbers that feel more important. Once a month, wealthy people do an audit. 15 minutes. They look at every recurring charge and ask one brutal question. Would I sign up for this again today, right now, for the first time? If the answer's no, it's gone. You're probably already thinking about one subscription right now that you know you don't use. That's not a coincidence. That's your gut telling you the truth your bank statement's been hiding. If this is already making you rethink your bank app, drop a comment with the one subscription you're canceling the second this video ends. I read every one, And honestly, seeing what other people cut is oddly motivating. Now let's talk about time, because money and time are the same resource wearing different clothes, and almost nobody treats them that way. There's a story about a shopkeeper, a real one, the kind of guy who ran a small hardware store in a town most people couldn't find on a map. He wasn't a genius. He didn't have an MBA, but he did one thing every single morning before he unlocked his doors. He spent 30 minutes learning, sometimes a book, sometimes just the newspaper's business section, read slowly with a pen in his hand. 30 minutes before the noise of the day could steal his attention. Over 20 years, that's roughly 3,000 hours of focused learning most of his competitors never gave themselves. 3,000 hours is enough to become a genuine expert in almost anything. He didn't get lucky. He compounded the same way money does, except the currency was knowledge, and knowledge is the one asset that never gets taxed and never gets stolen. That's habit 4, yeah? Protect the first 30 minutes of your day like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. Not your phone. Not the news. Not your inbox, which will still be there, screaming, whether you check it at 6 a.m. or 8. The people who stay wealthy guard their morning like a vault because they understand something the rest of us forget. Attention is the only truly non-renewable resource you have. You can make more money. You cannot make more hours. Here's a reframe that might land harder than anything else in this video. Most people think rich people are good at making money. That's not quite it. Rich people who stay rich are good at not losing money, which sounds almost too simple to matter, but it's the whole game. There's a concept from Morgan Housel's book on the psychology of money that stuck with me the first time I read it. The idea that getting money and keeping money are two completely different skills, and most financial advice only teaches the first one. Getting money takes risk, optimism, putting yourself out there. Keeping money takes something almost opposite: humility, fear, a kind of respectful paranoia about how fast it can disappear. That's habit 5. Ask yourself every single day, not how do I make more, but what am I doing right now that could quietly cost me everything? It's not a fun question. It's not the question that gets you excited on a Monday morning, but it's the question that's still asking itself in your head when you're 70, comfortable, and everyone around you is scrambling because they never learned to ask it. Now let's talk about relationships, because this is the one nobody wants to hear, and it's the one that hits closest to home. You are financially roughly the average of the 5 people you talk to most. Not because of magic, because of exposure. If your closest friends spend impulsively, complain about money, treat debt like a personality trait, you will absorb that slowly, the same way you pick up an accent from the people around you without ever trying. I had a friend, engineer, 28 years old, sharp guy, genuinely good with numbers at work, who couldn't save a dollar to save his life outside of it. Every raise turned into a new gadget before the direct deposit even cleared. And it wasn't because he was bad with money. It was because every single person in his friend group treated spending as the reward for working hard, and nobody around him modeled anything different. The moment he started spending time, real time, dinners, phone calls, with people who talked about investing the way his old friends talked about vacations, his own habits shifted without him forcing anything. He didn't get disciplined, he got surrounded. That's habit 6. Curate who you spend time with the same way you'd curate a portfolio, because that's exactly what it is. Habit 7 is smaller, but it might be the sneakiest one on this list. Wealthy people sleep on decisions over a certain dollar amount. Not because they're slow, because impulse and money are natural enemies. And almost every regret purchase you've ever made happened in a moment of heat, not a moment of thought. They set a rule, often as simple as this: anything over $100 that isn't a bill or an emergency waits 24 hours. Half the time, the desire's gone by morning. The other half, they still buy it, but now it's a decision, not a reaction. And decisions almost never bankrupt you the way reactions do. Here's the pivot, though. The part that's going to make everything you just heard click into place differently. You'd think all of this, the tracking, the saving, the learning, the guarded mornings, you'd think it's about restriction, about tightening up, saying no, living smaller. And that's exactly what stops most people from doing any of it. Because nobody wants a smaller life. But that's backwards. Every single wealthy person I've studied who actually stayed wealthy, not the lottery winners, not the crypto flukes, the real ones, did this stuff because it bought them something restriction never could. Options, the ability to say no to a job they hated, the ability to help a parent without flinching, the ability to sit in a hard conversation with money as the least stressful part of it. These habits were never about less. They were about freedom wearing a disguise that looks, from the outside, like discipline. Habit 8, quickly because you already feel it. They invest in themselves before they invest in anything else. A course, a skill, a certification, even just books, consistently, not as a treat, but as infrastructure. Because your income has a ceiling that your current skills built, and the only way to raise the ceiling is to raise the skills, and nobody's coming to do that for you. Habit 9. They track their net worth, not their income. Income is a headline. Net worth is the real scoreboard, the number that actually tells you whether you're building something or just running in place at a higher speed. Once a month, 10 minutes, every asset, every debt, one honest number. Most people have never once calculated their own net worth in their entire life. And you cannot win a game you refuse to keep score of. And habit 10, the last one, and maybe the quietest, they give. Consistently, even when it's small. Not because generosity magically returns money to you, that's not how any of this works. But because the habit of giving keeps your relationship with money healthy instead of anxious. And anxious money never sticks around long, because you make worse decisions with it every time, without exception. So here's where that leaves you. 10 habits. None of them require you to be smarter than the person next to you. None of them require a windfall, an inheritance, a lucky trade. They require the same thing that hardware store owner had, the same thing that Ohio warehouse supervisor had, the willingness to do something small, daily, long after it stops feeling exciting. Wealth was never really about the big moment. It was never about the raise, the bonus, the lucky break everyone's chasing. It was about who you quietly became on all the ordinary Tuesdays nobody was watching. If this video added value to your day, share it with your loved ones who need this, and subscribe for more insights.